The night my family destroyed my future, it was raining. Not the gentle kind that makes everything smell fresh and clean, but the kind that pounds against windows like angry fists. I remember because the sound matched the thundering of my heart as I stared at the remains of my portfolio, 12 months of work shredded and scattered across my bedroom floor like confetti from hell. My name is Sophie, and I was 18 when my parents decided to kill my dreams. This is for your own good, sweetheart. Mom's voice wavered as she clutched one of my paintings, the centerpiece meant for tomorrow's art school scholarship interview. Her mascara was running, but her grip was steady. We can't let you throw your life away on this. Put it down. My voice came out smaller than I wanted. Mom, please, I worked so hard. Exactly why this needs to happen now. Dad stepped forward, his shoes crunching over broken canvases. Before you waste any more time on this nonsense. I lunged for the painting, but he was faster. One clean tear down the middle. The sound was like a gunshot in my ears. You're making a scene, Celeste said from the doorway, arms crossed over her designer sweater. My perfect younger sister, already engaged to a lawyer at 20. Just accept it, Sophie. You were never going to make it anyway. Shut up, I screamed, shoving past her to grab my sketchbook from Mom's hands. She held on tight and we struggled until pages started ripping out. Drawings of dancers, portraits, cityscapes. They fluttered to the floor like dying butterflies. Margaret, enough. Dad's voice cut through everything. Sophie, sit down. We're going to discuss your real future now. I've arranged an interview at the bank. No. The word came out before I could stop it. Excuse me? I said no. I straightened up, surprising myself with how steady I felt. You don't get to decide this. Mom stepped forward, reaching for my hand. Darling, please understand. We love you too much to watch you struggle as a starving artist. What about marriage, children, security? Like Celeste? I laughed and it sounded horrible. Is that what this is about? Making sure I follow her perfect example? Don't drag me into your tantrum, Celeste snapped. Some of us actually want to make something of ourselves. Something of ourselves? I grabbed a torn piece of my work and thrust it at her. I already am something. I'm an artist. I'm good at it. Tomorrow was my chance to prove. Enough! Dad slammed his hand against my desk. This ends now. You will not embarrass this family with your childish fantasies. Tomorrow, you will meet Mr. Peterson at the bank, and that's final. I looked around my room, at the destruction, at Mom's tears, at Celeste's smug face, at Dad's cold eyes. Something inside me snapped clean in half. You're right, I said quietly. This ends now. I walked to my closet and pulled out my backpack. They watched in silence as I stuffed it with clothes, my wallet, and my phone charger. The only artwork that survived was my small travel sketchbook, hidden under my mattress. Sophie Hamilton, don't you dare, Dad started. Or what? I turned to face them. You'll destroy my dreams? Too late. Mom burst into fresh tears. Where will you go? You have nothing. Better nothing than this. I grabbed my jacket and pushed past them. Celeste tried to grab my arm, but I yanked away. Don't touch me. Don't ever touch me again. You're being ridiculous, she hissed. You'll be back in a week, begging for help. I stopped at the top of the stairs and looked back at them one last time. Mom, crying into her hands. Dad, rigid with fury. Celeste, uncertainty finally cracking through her perfect mask. No, I said. I won't. The rain was still pounding as I walked out the front door. I had no plan, no money except what was in my wallet, and no idea where I'd sleep tonight. But with each step down the driveway, my spine got straighter, my chin lifted higher. They thought they were breaking me. Instead, they'd set me free. I turned back for one last look at the house, the perfect Hamilton family home with its manicured lawn and gleaming windows. Lightning flashed. illuminating my bedroom, where the remains of my art lay scattered like broken dreams. "I'll show you what I can become," I whispered to the rain. "And when I do, you'll wish you hadn't made me your enemy." I walked away into the storm, leaving everything I'd ever known behind. As the rain soaked through my clothes and my tears mixed with the downpour, I made myself a promise. I would rise from these ashes, and when I did, they would regret ever trying to extinguish my fire. 12 years can change everything and nothing at all. I was scrubbing gallery floors when I got my first real break. Not exactly the glamorous art world entrance I dreamed of, but beggars can't be choosers when they're living off ramen and determination. "Hey, new girl," the curator had called out. "What do you think about this piece?" I looked up from my mop at the massive canvas. The composition's weak. Artist is trying too hard to channel Rothko, but the color balance is off. It's derivative. He raised an eyebrow. "Most cleaners don't know Rothko from a hole in the wall." Most cleaners didn't spend their childhood memorizing art history instead of doing their math homework. I wrung out my mop. "But hey, what do I know? I'm just the help." That was how I met Darius. He hired me as his assistant the next day, and within a year, I was writing reviews for local art magazines. 5 years later, we opened our own gallery together. "Earth to Sophie!" Darius waved his hand in front of my face, jolting me back to the present. "These pieces aren't going to arrange themselves." I blinked at the half-hung exhibition. "Sorry, got lost in thought." "Thinking about Freya's show next month?" He wiggled his eyebrows suggestively. "Don't start." I adjusted a frame, avoiding his eyes. "We're strictly professional now." "Sure. That's why you both get all weird and intense whenever—" Darius. "Fine. Fine." He handed me another painting. "But speaking of intense, have you seen this morning's mail?" I followed his gaze to my desk, where a cream-colored envelope sat like a landmine. Even from here, I recognized the Hamilton family letterhead. "Burn it," I said, turning back to the wall. "Already tried. It's apparently fireproof." He crossed his arms. "Sophie, it's been 12 years. Maybe they want to apologize? Make amends?" I laughed. "Trust me, that's not how they work." "You don't know that. People change." I stepped down from the ladder. "You didn't see their faces that night. They weren't sorry. They were embarrassed by me, by my art, by everything I represented. And now you're one of the most influential critics in the city." He picked up the envelope. "Maybe they're proud." "They don't get to be proud. They didn't help build this." I gestured around the gallery. The nights I slept on park benches, the community college classes I paid for by cleaning toilets, the rejection letters I wallpapered my first apartment with, they weren't there. "Open it anyway." He held out the envelope, if only to prove me wrong. I snatched it from him, tearing it open roughly. Inside was a glossy invitation to a charity auction, the Hamilton Family Foundation's annual fundraiser, and tucked behind it, a catalogue featuring the works up for bid. My blood froze when I saw it. "What?" Darius peered over my shoulder. Oh, wow, is that Celeste?" I stared at the garish painting credited to my sister. She's calling herself an artist now. "It's unique?" "It's terrible." I flipped through the catalog. Every other piece was museum-worthy. "She'll be humiliated. Unless someone buys it." Darius watched me carefully. "Someone with influence in the art world. Someone who could make or break. Don't." I closed the catalog. "Don't even suggest it." My phone buzzed. A text from Freya. "Saw the auction listing. You okay?" I ignored it, but my hands were shaking as I picked up another frame. "Sophie," Darius's voice was gentle. "What are you thinking?" I looked at the invitation again. In 2 weeks, the cream of society would gather to bid on art and congratulate themselves on their charity. My family would be center stage, showing off their perfect philanthropy and their younger daughter's artistic debut. I'm thinking, I said slowly, that I should RSVP. As yourself. I smiled, and it felt sharp enough to cut. As SH curator. Let's see how long it takes them to figure it out. Sophie, he hesitated, revenge won't fix what happened. No. I picked up my phone, finally replying to Freya. Never better. The memory of torn canvas and scattered dreams flashed through my mind. I'd spent 12 years clawing my way up from nothing, building a reputation that could make or break careers. Now my family wanted to play in my world? Fine. Let them come. I was reaching for my laptop when an assistant burst in. Ms. Sophie, there's a woman here insisting on seeing you. Says she's your mother? My heart stopped. In the gallery doorway stood Mom, older but still perfectly coiffed, clutching her designer handbag like a shield. Sophie, she whispered, please, we need to talk about Celeste. My office. I gestured sharply, not looking at Mom as I strode past her. The click of her heels followed me down the hallway, each step like a hammer on my nerves. Darius caught my eye. Want me to stay? I've got this. I closed the door behind us, leaving Mom standing awkwardly in the middle of my office. She looked out of place among my modern furniture and avant-garde art pieces. This is impressive, she said, fingering the edge of my desk. You've done well for yourself. Cut the small talk. I remained standing. What do you want? She flinched but recovered quickly. It's about the auction. Celeste's painting is awful, I finished for her. Yeah, I saw the catalog. She's sensitive about her art, Mom said, clutching her handbag tighter. You know how these events are. If no one bids. I laughed, and the sound made her jump. So that's why you're here. You want me to save precious Celeste from embarrassment. Please, Sophie. She's your sister. Was my sister. I leaned against my desk. Or did you forget the night she stood there watching you destroy my future? We were trying to protect you, Mom's voice cracked. We didn't want you to struggle, like I struggled sleeping in my car or working 3 jobs to afford art classes. I gestured around the office. Look how well your protection worked out. She stepped forward, reaching for my hand. I pulled away. That's not fair, she whispered. We didn't know. You didn't want to know. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Freya. Don't do anything stupid. Mom noticed the message. Are you seeing someone? Still trying to marry me off? I smiled coldly. Sorry to disappoint, but I'm too busy running my gallery to fulfill your white picket fence fantasies. Your father and I just want... Dad's here too? I moved to the window. Sure enough, there was his Mercedes parked illegally outside. Let me guess, waiting to see if you can manipulate me into compliance before he deigns to come up. Mom's silence was answer enough. Tell me something, I said, turning back to her. Does Celeste actually want to be an artist? Or is this another one of your perfect family tableaus? She's trying to find herself. In my world? I picked up the auction catalog. The world you told me wasn't worth pursuing? Things are different now. Mom smoothed her skirt nervously. We've changed. No, what's different is that now I have something you want. I opened the catalog to Celeste's painting. You need me to prevent a social catastrophe. That's the only reason you're here. That's not true. We've missed you, Sophie. Every day we... Save it. I held up my hand. Here's what's going to happen. I'll be at the auction. Hope flickered across her face. You'll help? I'll handle Celeste's painting. I smiled, and Mom took a step back. Trust me. Sophie, please don't... Don't what? Humiliate the family? I opened my office door. We're done here. She hesitated in the doorway. Your father wants to see you. Tell him he knows where to find me. I turned to my computer. He can come up himself if he wants to beg. After she left, Darius appeared with 2 cups of coffee. That looked intense. They want me to secretly buy Celeste's painting. I accepted the coffee gratefully, save the family from embarrassment. And will you? I pulled up the auction RSVP form. Oh, I'll buy it all right, but there won't be anything secret about it. Sophie, he perched on my desk. What are you planning? Justice. I hit submit on the RSVP. Or karma. Maybe both. My phone lit up with a 3rd message from Freya. Whatever you're thinking, call me first. You should talk to her, Darius said softly. She knows you better than anyone. She knew the old me. I closed the catalog, but not before catching another glimpse of Celeste's painting, a mess of colors trying desperately to mean something. The one who still believed in family. And what does the new you believe in? I thought about Mom's desperate eyes, Dad waiting in his car like a coward, and Celeste's pathetic attempt to claim the artistic talent she'd helped destroy in me. Consequences, I said, reaching for my phone. It's time they learned about consequences. The auction was 2 weeks away, 2 weeks to perfect my performance, to ensure every detail would devastate precisely as planned. They wanted to play in the art world? Fine. I'd show them exactly how sharp its edges could be. The auction venue gleamed with old money and new pretensions. I adjusted my designer dress, black, sleek, expensive enough to make a statement, and handed my invitation to the doorman. SH Curator, he announced, and heads turned. Darius squeezed my arm. You okay? Never better. I scanned the crowd, spotting Mom first. She was holding court near a Monet, but her laugh faltered when she saw me. Dad, by the bar, went completely still. And Celeste... Sophie, my sister's voice cracked as she approached. What are you doing here? Supporting the arts. I smiled, noting how her perfect makeup couldn't quite hide her anxiety. Lovely piece you've contributed, she flushed. You've seen it? Hard to miss. I accepted a champagne flute from a passing waiter. Bold choice of colors. I've been studying techniques. Celeste twisted her diamond ring, still playing the perfect wife. Taking classes. How inspiring. I sipped my champagne. Following your dreams. She caught my tone and straightened. Look, about that night. Sophie, Mom appeared suddenly, gripping Dad's arm. We didn't know you were coming. Clearly. I turned to Dad. Still letting Mom fight your battles? His jaw tightened. We need to talk, privately. No. I gestured around the crowded room. Whatever you have to say it here. Please, Mom whispered. Not in front of everyone. I noticed several people watching us with poorly concealed interest. The great Hamilton family reunion, better entertainment than any painting. Fine. I nodded toward a quiet corner. Make it quick. Once relatively secluded, Dad spoke first. Name your price. Excuse me? For the painting. He pulled out his checkbook. Whatever it takes to handle this discreetly. I laughed. You think this is about money? Then what do you want? Mom's voice was desperate. Please, Sophie. Celeste has been working so hard. Has she? I cut in. Like I worked before you destroyed everything I'd created? That was different, Dad snapped. You were throwing your life away. And now? I stepped closer. Now that I'm successful, influential, now you want my help? Celeste joined us, her face pale. They told me you'd handle it. Oh, I'll handle it. I finished my champagne. I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what your art is worth. Sophie, please. Mom grabbed my hand. We're family. I yanked away. Family? Family doesn't destroy each other's dreams. Family doesn't stand by and watch. Ladies and gentlemen, the auctioneer's voice boomed through the room. Please take your seats. The bidding will begin shortly. Last chance, Dad said quietly. Name your terms. I looked at each of them. Mom's tears, Dad's rigid control, Celeste's fear. 12 years of pain crystallized into perfect clarity. My terms, I smiled. Watch and learn. The first few lots went quickly. I sat between Darius and Freya, who'd arrived just in time with worry in her eyes. Don't do this, she whispered. Too late. I squeezed her hand. But thanks for coming. Next up, the auctioneer announced, a vibrant contemporary piece by emerging artist Celeste Hamilton. Shall we start the bidding at 5,000? Silence fell. I could see Celeste shrinking in her seat, Mom's knuckles whitening around her auction paddle. Anyone? The auctioneer's smile became fixed. Perhaps 4,000? I raised my paddle. 10,000. Gasps rippled through the crowd. The auctioneer beamed. 10,000 from Ms. S.H. Curator. Do I hear 11? 20,000, I called out before anyone could speak. Mom's eyes widened. Dad half rose from his seat. 30,000. The room was dead silent now, watching in fascination as I bid against myself. Sophie, Darius hissed, what are you doing? $50,000. I stood up, making sure everyone could see me clearly. The auctioneer looked uncertain. Ms. Curator, you're bidding against yourself. $100,000. My voice rang through the stunned silence. Final offer. Going once? He glanced around desperately. Going twice? Stop this, Dad commanded from across the room. Sold. The gavel came down. To S.H. Curator for $100,000. The auctioneer wiped his brow. Would the winning bidder like to say a few words? I walked to the podium, passing my family's horrified faces. Celeste looked like she might faint. Actually, I said into the microphone, I would. The crowd leaned forward, eager for more drama. They wouldn't be disappointed. I smiled directly at my family. I have one condition for this purchase. Sophie, Mom pleaded, don't. The painting must be destroyed. I pulled out a lighter. Right here, right now. And that's when all hell broke loose. Security! Dad's voice boomed across the room. Remove her immediately. Nobody move, I commanded, holding the lighter higher, or I'll burn through $100,000 right here. The security guards froze, looking uncertainly between me and the event organizers. The crowd buzzed with excited whispers. This is performance art, I announced to the room. A statement about authenticity, family, and the true value of creation. You're insane, Celeste shrieked, jumping to her feet. That's my painting. No. I turned to face her. It's mine. I bought it, just like Mom and Dad wanted. The auctioneer stepped forward nervously. Ms. Curator, perhaps we could discuss this privately. Nothing about this should be private. I clicked the lighter, the small flame dancing. The Hamiltons love an audience, don't they, Mom? Mom was sobbing now, mascara running. Please, sweetheart, don't do this to your sister. Like you did to me? I laughed. At least I paid for the privilege of destruction. Freya appeared at my elbow. Sophie, stop! This isn't you! You don't know who I am anymore. But my hand shook slightly. None of you do. I know you're better than this, she whispered. Don't let them make you cruel. Dad pushed through the crowd. Young lady, you will cease this spectacle immediately. Or what? I met his eyes. You'll disown me? Break my spirit? Been there? Done that? This is about that ridiculous portfolio? He scoffed. You're still throwing tantrums over some teenage drawings? The room went deadly quiet. Even the waiters stopped moving. Ridiculous? My voice was ice. Those teenage drawings got me a full scholarship interview. But you never let me go, did you? Never let me prove what I could do. We were protecting you. You were controlling me. The lighter flame wavered as my hand shook. And now look, Your perfect Celeste wants to be an artist, and you're desperate to buy her success. Celeste stepped forward, tears streaming. I just wanted to make them proud. Proud? I turned to her. They're not proud. They're terrified. Terrified you'll fail publicly. Terrified their reputation will suffer. That's not true, Mom protested weakly. Really? I gestured around the room. Then why am I here? Why beg me to buy this painting? Because you know it's not good enough. You know she's not good enough. Sophie, Darius called out. The painting. I looked down. In my anger, I'd let the flame drift too close to the canvas. A small corner was starting to smolder. Perfect. I held it higher. Let's make this official. Wait, Celeste's voice cracked. You're right, okay? I'm not good enough. I'll never be as talented as you were. Is that what you want to hear? I hesitated, seeing real pain in her eyes for the first time. But this? She gestured at the smoking canvas. This isn't about art. This is about hurting them, hurting me. Like you hurt me. My voice wavered. You watched them destroy everything I'd worked for. I was wrong. She stepped closer. I was young and stupid and jealous. You were always so free, so sure of yourself. I wanted to be like that, but I didn't know how. The flame flickered between us. Around the room, phones were recording, people were whispering, but all I could see was my sister's face. So you destroyed me instead? No, Dad interrupted. I destroyed you. Your mother and I did that. Celeste was just a child following our lead. A child? I laughed bitterly. I was a child too, a child with dreams and talent, and now you're successful despite us, Mom said quietly. You proved us wrong. Isn't that enough? The painting was definitely burning now, smoke curling up toward the ceiling. Security was moving in slowly, but the crowd held them back, riveted by the drama. Sophie, Freya touched my arm. Choose who you want to be in this moment. I looked at the faces around me, Darius's concern, Freya's understanding, Mom's tears, Dad's rigid shame, Celeste's broken pride. 12 years of anger crystallized into this single burning moment. The fire alarm suddenly blared, and sprinklers burst to life overhead. Chaos erupted as people rushed for the exits, expensive clothes and hairdos ruined by the water. In the confusion, I let the painting fall. The flames sputtered under the sprinklers, leaving the canvas half burned, half drowned, a perfect metaphor for this whole mess. Show's over, I announced to no one in particular, and turned toward the exit. Sophie, wait! Multiple voices called after me, but I kept walking. The night wasn't over yet, not by a long shot. The hotel bar was nearly empty when they found me. I'd ordered scotch, neat, Dad's drink of choice. Fitting, considering. You're trending on Twitter, Darius said, sliding onto the bar stool beside me. Gallery Inferno. Fantastic. I took another sip. Did they get my good side while I was committing arson? It wasn't technically arson. Freya appeared on my other side. You owned the painting. Small comfort to the insurance company, I'm sure. I checked my phone. 17 missed calls from Mom, 38 text messages from Celeste. God, they never quit. Because they're your family, Freya said softly. We're my family. I signaled the bartender for another round. Now they're just people who happened to share my house for 18 years. Sophie. Darius turned to face me. What happens now? Now? I laughed. Now I go home, sleep off this scotch, and wake up to about 50 angry emails from art collectors wondering if I've lost my mind. That's not what I meant. The bar door opened. Celeste walked in, makeup smeared, designer dress still damp from the sprinklers. She looked younger somehow, more like the sister I remembered. Don't, I warned as she approached. Just don't. I have to. She sat down across from me. You owe me that much. I owe you? The scotch burned in my throat. That's rich. Yes, you owe me. Her voice was steady now. You just humiliated me in front of the entire art world. Welcome to my life. I raised my glass in mock toast. How does it feel? Horrible. She grabbed the glass from my hand. But at least I'm facing you, not hiding behind lighter fluid and dramatic gestures. Careful, Celeste. I leaned forward. Your perfect mask is slipping. Good. She slammed the glass down. Let it slip. Let it shatter. I'm tired of being perfect. That caught me off guard. Darius and Freya exchanged glances. Maybe we should give you two some space, Freya suggested. Stay. I grabbed her wrist. Both of you. I need witnesses for whatever manipulation is coming. No manipulation. Celeste's eyes filled with tears. Just truth. Finally. Truth? I scoffed. You wouldn't know truth if it set fire to your painting. Oh, wait. I started painting because of you, she burst out. After you left, I found one of your old sketchbooks in the attic. It was beautiful. Everything I wished I could create. The scotch turned sour in my stomach. Stop. I took classes, bought supplies, tried to capture what you did so effortlessly, but I couldn't. She wiped her eyes. I'm not you, Sophie. I never will be. Then why try? My voice cracked. Why step into my world just to make a mockery of it? Because it was the only way I knew to get close to you again. She pulled something from her purse, a worn, leather-bound book. My old sketchbook. I carry this everywhere. Pathetic, right? I stared at the book, memories flooding back. Where did you? Mom saved it. She saved everything she could salvage that night. Celeste pushed it across the bar. She cries over your old drawings sometimes when she thinks no one's watching. Don't. My hands shook. Don't try to make them sympathetic now. I'm not. What they did, what we did, was unforgivable. She took a shaky breath. But we're all broken, Sophie. You're just the only one brave enough to admit it. The bar seemed too quiet suddenly, too intimate. Darius touched my shoulder. Maybe it's time to let go, he said gently. Not forgive, just release. I opened the sketchbook. The pages were worn, well thumbed. Little notes in Celeste's handwriting filled the margins. Amazing perspective here. How did she capture that light? Study this technique. You really did try, I whispered, and failed spectacularly. She attempted a smile. At least my public humiliation was expensive. Despite everything, I laughed. It felt rusty, unfamiliar. Mom and Dad are waiting upstairs, she added quietly. If you're ready? I'm not. I closed the sketchbook. But maybe that's okay. Freya squeezed my hand. Want us to come with you? I looked at my best friend and my ex-girlfriend, both still here despite my spectacular meltdown. Then at my sister, imperfect and honest at last. No. I stood up, tucking the sketchbook under my arm. This is family business. Sophie, Celeste called as I headed for the elevator. For what it's worth, I'm sorry for everything. I turned back, seeing the scared teenager she'd been, the conflicted woman she'd become. I know. I held the elevator door. You coming? She hurried in beside me. As the doors closed, I caught a glimpse of Darius and Freya raising their glasses in solidarity. Time to face the final act. The hotel suite door felt like a barrier between two worlds. Celeste knocked, and Mom opened it immediately, as if she'd been waiting right there. Sophie, her voice cracked. You came. Don't make me regret it. I stepped inside, where Dad stood by the window, silhouetted against the city lights. You made quite a scene, he said without turning around. Learned from the best. I set the sketchbook on the coffee table. Remember the night you taught me about dramatic exits? He finally faced me. Is that what this was about? Revenge? No. I sat down, suddenly exhausted. This was about truth, about consequences, about finally being seen. "We see you," Mom whispered, perching on the edge of the sofa. "We've always seen you." "Really?" I opened the sketchbook. "Then why did you do this?" Dad's jaw tightened. You thought you knew better." I flipped through the pages. "You thought you could break me into the shape you wanted. We were wrong." The words seemed to physically pain him. "Is that what you want to hear?" "I want to hear why." I stood up, facing him directly. "All these years I've wondered, why wasn't I enough? Why couldn't you just let me be who I was?" "Because I was afraid." He slammed his hand against the window. "Is that what you want? The truth? I was terrified you'd end up like my sister." The room went silent. Even Mom looked shocked. "What sister?" Celeste asked. "We don't have an aunt." Dad's shoulders sagged. "She was an artist too. Talented, passionate, just like you, Sophie. She died in a shabby apartment, penniless, alone. I couldn't watch that happen to you." "So you destroyed me instead?" My voice shook. "To save me?" "I destroyed you because I was a coward." He turned, and for the first time in my life, I saw tears in his eyes. Because I couldn't face my own fears, my own failures. Mom stood up. "We both failed you, Sophie. We were so focused on protecting you from pain that we became the source of it. And now," I gestured around the luxurious suite, "now that I've succeeded despite you, now that I have the power to hurt you back, now we're just asking for a chance," Celeste said quietly. "Not forgiveness, just a chance." I picked up the sketchbook again, running my fingers over the worn cover. You know what the worst part was? Not the destroyed art, not even the crushed dreams. It was believing I wasn't worth fighting for. "You were always worth fighting for." Mom reached for my hand. This time, I let her take it. "We just fought the wrong battle and lost everything in the process." Dad moved closer. "Including you." The city lights twinkled beyond the window, reminding me of that rainy night 12 years ago. I'd walked away then, carrying nothing but pain and determination. "I can't go back," I said finally. "I can't be your perfect daughter." "We don't want perfect." Mom squeezed my hand. "We want you. Even if that means more public scandals." I managed a small smile. "More trending hashtags?" "Even then." Dad cleared his throat. "Although perhaps with less property damage next time." A laugh bubbled up, surprising all of us. It felt strange, like trying on old clothes that didn't quite fit anymore. "I should go." I pulled my hand away gently. It's too much for one night." "Will we see you again?" Mom's voice was small. I looked at each of them. Dad's uncharacteristic vulnerability, Mom's hopeful tears, Celeste's quiet support. They were different, yet the same, like me. "Yes," I said finally, "but on my terms. No more manipulation, no more perfect family facade." "Agreed." Dad extended his hand. After a moment, I shook it. "The art world's going to be talking about this for months," Celeste said as she walked me to the door. "Let them talk." I handed her the sketchbook. "Keep practicing, but find your own style next time." She hugged me suddenly. I stood stiff for a moment before letting myself relax into it, just slightly. "Sophie," Mom called as I reached the door, "we're proud of you, not because of your success, but because of who you are. We should have said that years ago." I nodded, not trusting myself to speak, and stepped into the hallway. The door closed behind me with a soft click. My phone buzzed, Darius and Freya waiting in the bar. I texted back, "Coming down, order me something strong." The elevator arrived, empty. As I descended, I caught my reflection in the mirrored walls, tear-stained but standing tall, not broken, not perfect, just me. Maybe that was enough. The gallery was quiet except for the sound of my heels on the polished floor. I stopped in front of the empty wall space where Celeste's painting had hung, now just a blank canvas of possibility. Ready? Darius appeared beside me, clipboard in hand. Almost. I adjusted the lighting, making sure it hit the wall at exactly the right angle. Is everyone here? Full house? He checked his watch. Including your family. They're in the back, trying to look inconspicuous. I smoothed my dress. And the piece? Just arrived. He grinned. It's perfect. The gallery doors opened and guests began filtering in. Art critics, collectors, social media influencers, all drawn by the promise of another dramatic Hamilton family spectacle. Quite a crowd, Freya said, appearing at my other side. Sure about this? No. I took a deep breath. But when has that ever stopped me? She squeezed my hand. Go get him, Tiger. I walked to the small podium, tapping the microphone. The crowd fell silent, all eyes on me. Thank you all for coming. My voice was steady. Many of you were at the charity auction last month. You witnessed what some called a breakdown, others called performance art, and my lawyer called legally questionable. Scattered laughter. I spotted my family in the back, Mom clutching Dad's arm, Celeste trying to smile. Tonight isn't about destruction. I gestured to the assistants waiting by the storage room. It's about creation, about transformation. They wheeled out a covered canvas. The crowd murmured in anticipation. This piece was created by 2 artists. I moved toward the canvas. One established, one emerging. One who lost everything. One who's just beginning. I pulled off the cover. Gasps filled the room. The painting was massive, a phoenix rising from ashes, but look closer and you'd see the ashes were torn canvas, burnt edges, fragments of Celeste's original work incorporated into something new. Half was painted in my style, half in hers, meeting in the middle in a burst of color and light. Sometimes, I continued, we have to burn it all down to build something better. Sometimes the very people who break us are the ones who help us rebuild. Celeste pushed through the crowd, tears streaming. You finished it. We finished it. I handed her a small card. Read it. She looked at the artwork's title card and choked back a sob. Phoenix Rising by Sophie and Celeste Hamilton. The crowd burst into applause. Critics were already typing on their phones, photographers snapping pictures, but I only saw my sister's face. I don't deserve this, she whispered. No, I agreed. But you earned it. Those hours in the studio, learning, trying, failing, trying again, that's what makes an artist. Not talent, not family names, just pure stubborn determination. Mom and Dad approached slowly, as if afraid to break the moment. It's extraordinary, Dad said quietly. Both of you are extraordinary. Thanks, I met his eyes. But I didn't do it for your approval. We know. Mom wiped her eyes. You did it for you. For both of you. Darius clinked his glass for attention. The piece is available for purchase, with all proceeds going to a new scholarship fund. The Phoenix Grant, I cut in, for young artists whose families don't support their dreams. More applause, more photos, more tears. Sophie, Celeste touched the canvas gently. Thank you, not just for this, but for showing me how to be brave. I thought about that rainy night, about broken dreams and burning paintings, about the long road between destruction and creation. Keep practicing, I said. You're not half bad when you're being yourself. She laughed through her tears. Maybe we could do this again sometime? Maybe. I turned to the crowd, raising my voice. The gallery will be accepting submissions for our Emerging Artists Showcase next month. All styles welcome. I caught Dad's slight smile, Mom's proud tears, Freya's knowing look, Darius's triumphant grin. Now, I announced, let's celebrate art in all its forms. The beautiful, the broken, and everything in between. As the party swirled around me, I stood before our phoenix, seeing both the ashes of what was and the promise of what could be. The painting wasn't perfect. You could still see the scars, the burns, the torn edges, but maybe that's what made it beautiful. My phone buzzed with notifications, reviews, reactions, reposts. Phoenix Rising was already trending, but for once, I didn't care about the noise. I had said my piece, made my peace, created something new from the ashes of the old. Sometimes revenge isn't about destroying your enemies. Sometimes it's about rebuilding yourself so strongly that they have no choice but to see you, really see you at last. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, they rebuild themselves right alongside you,